Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we are really on the hunt, looking for those, knowledge cheat codes, the ones that can genuinely shift how we understand ourselves.
Right.
And we get this fantastic set of notes here. They're derived from excerpts from The Hidden Science of Happiness.
Okay.
And they focus on this really intriguing section titled The Hidden Science Behind Happiness You Didn't Know.
That's a title that grabs you.
It really does. So our whole mission today really is built around that title. We need to uncover the specific, non-obvious, scientifically backed paths to well-being these notes are hinting at. I'll be honest, when I first read it, I thought, oh no, not another book telling me to meditate for an hour. But that phrase, hidden science, it makes you look again.
Yeah, it forces you past the cliches.
Okay, let's unpack that.
Well, what's fascinating here right off the bat is the format. You're getting excerpts, notes.
Right.
It implies speed distillation.
Like a core essence.
Exactly. The listener gets the synthesis, like a shortcut to the key knowledge. And crucially, it promises stuff that's hidden.
Right.
Which suggests, that the usual advice, the stuff we all hear about happiness, maybe it's incomplete. Or maybe even actively misleading sometimes. We're looking for those counterintuitive bits, the things that really deliver that aha moment for someone trying to learn.
That word hidden is, it's really compelling, isn't it? Why would science about well-being need to be hidden?
Good question.
Is it just too complex? Or like you said, does it actually go against the grain of, popular self-help advice?
Could be either or both.
It makes me wonder if the sort of easy, feel-good advice has just drowned out the strategies that actually work, but maybe require more effort.
That's a strong possibility.
It's like finding a secret map to feeling good, and the real treasure isn't where everyone's looking. Maybe it's somewhere unexpected in your day.
That's a great analogy, and it forces us to rethink what we even count as useful advice. If the science is hidden, maybe it's because it's not instant gratification.
Oh.
Maybe it takes some cognitive work, or it challenges these really deep-seated but maybe wrong cultural ideas about success and feeling good.
Right.
But hang on, before we dive too deep into what's hidden, let's connect this to the bigger picture. We need to talk about that other keyword, science.
Yes, definitely.
That grounding is absolutely critical. It pulls the whole discussion away from just, philosophical musings or generic self-help slogans.
Towards actual data.
Towards empirical, measurable data. But we should probably be a bit careful, too.
Oh, so?
Well, not to fall into just pure reductive materialism, right? The notes promise science, which is great, but we need to make sure they also give context. Happiness isn't only a biochemical reaction. There's the subjective feeling, too.
That is a really important point. We need the nuance.
Mm-hmm.
But by using the word science, the source kind of gives us permission, and you, the listener, permission to demand more, doesn't it?
Demand measurable results, yeah.
We can ask about biomarkers, neurological stuff, not just sort of vague feelings. That shifts it from just hope to potentially actionable steps.
That's the power, exactly. Actionable insights.
And let's not gloss over that direct challenge. The hidden science behind happiness you didn't know.
Bold claim.
It really is. It's basically guaranteeing genuinely new information, even for someone like you listening who probably reads a lot, stays informed, listens to deep dives like this one.
Precisely. If the findings really live up to the you didn't know part, they can't just be like, go for a walk in the sun.
Right. It needs to be deeper.
It has to be about the mechanism, the why and the how our brains actually register well-being. We should be expecting stuff about, neurological feedback loops, maybe some counterintuitive triggers.
Things that genuinely surprising.
That's where the real value should be. That's the expectation set by the title.
Okay, so we've kind of analyzed the map, the promise. Let's actually turn the page now and see what coordinates these notes give us.
Yeah.
What did they actually reveal that feels, truly hidden?
Let's do it.
So the first insight that really jumped out at me from these excerpts, it relates to intentional effort, goal-driven effort. The notes called it, interestingly, the optimal dose of intentional suffering.
Okay, wow. Intentional suffering. That immediately clashes with our usual drive for comfort, doesn't it? Minimize friction at all costs.
Totally.
But this source suggests happiness doesn't peak when life is easy. It peaks when you tackle the right amount of difficulty. Difficulty aimed at something you personally value.
A right amount.
Yeah. And the hidden part isn't just achieving the goal, it's the measurable boost in self-efficacy and dopamine that happens when your brain successfully overcomes that friction. If everything's too easy.
The reward pathway weakens.
Exactly. It gets weaker, less satisfying.
Huh? The notes actually cited some research showing people who deliberately scheduled, say, 2 hours a week of activity they didn't enjoy but knew was building a skill.
Something they kind of dreaded.
Yeah, exactly. Something they dreaded but knew was good for them long term. They reported higher overall life satisfaction than people who just chased immediate pleasure.
Interesting.
And the payoff wasn't during the difficult activity, obviously. It was afterwards, that feeling of, wow, I got through that hard thing. I'm actually more capable now.
And that's precisely why it fits the hidden science idea.
Yeah.
It runs completely counter to the intuition of seek comfort, avoid stress.
Right.
It tells you that actually a managed dose of discomfort is, well, almost neurologically necessary to build that lasting satisfaction and sense of strength. It reframes difficulty. It's not just a roadblock, it's like a required nutrient for well-being.
A nutrient. I like that. Okay, let's shift gears. There was a second finding, much more. Biochemical. This gets into the technical side we hoped for. The notes discussed diet, but not just eat your veggies. It was about specific amino acids, non-essential ones.
Okay, getting specific now.
Yeah. They highlighted how managing the timing of taking certain amino acid precursors, specifically tryptophan and tyrosine, during high-stress periods, it had a statistically significant effect on keeping serotonin levels stable, much more than just general mood-boosting efforts.
Now, that is a perfect example of science you didn't know. I mean, who thinks about their non-essential amino acid timing day to day?
Nobody, right? It's super granular.
Exactly. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this kind of finding moves the whole conversation. It shifts from these big, vague interventions like, oh, just change your environment, to really micro-level, actionable, empirical tweaks.
Little levers you can pull.
Yes. Treating the emotional system like a complex machine with specific kind of hidden levers you can adjust and expect, somewhat predictable results. That level of precision, that's gold for the learner who wants actual data points they can maybe test out.
It's almost like turning self-care into a form of, personal chemical engineering, which sounds maybe a bit intense.
Subtle, yeah.
But the key takeaway is pretty straightforward. When you consume certain nutrients, can be a measurable input for your stress resilience. That's actionable.
Definitely actionable.
Okay, and finally, there was this really counterintuitive social behavior the notes pointed to.
The social angle, always important for happiness.
Totally. They mentioned fMRI data showing that when someone engages in strategic social vulnerability.
Strategic vulnerability, meaning what exactly?
Meaning like being the first person in a group to admit a small mistake or a minor insecurity, not oversharing, but just lowering the guard slightly.
Okay.
The brain scan showed this activated stronger feelings of connection and long-term trust in the people listening compared to when someone just shared positive news or, boasted a little.
Huh. That's fascinating. So it's like the neurological reward we get from being altruistic but turned inward.
How do you mean?
Well, instead of giving away something tangible like money, you're giving away a bit of social armor, that veneer of perfection.
Right. Okay. I see.
And what's so interesting here is that the sources suggest the brain registers this vulnerability as a real, quantifiable reward. Why? Because it seems to drastically reduce the perceived social distance between people.
Makes sense.
And feeling closer, safer psychologically. That's a massive factor in cutting down stress and boosting long-term well-being. It's probably hard to do being vulnerable like that.
It really feels risky.
But the science seems to indicate the neurological payoff is quick and quite deep.
So it kind of flips the script on that whole fake it till you make it idea.
It really does.
The science is suggesting that showing a little imperfection might actually be the smarter way to build those strong, happiness-boosting connections.
Seems that way.
Okay, so we have journeyed through this deep dive, looking at this source material. Let's try and synthesize this for you, the listener. We started by analyzing the title,
which promised empirical, non-obvious truths.
Exactly. And we found potential examples in, 3 main areas?
Yeah.
Intentional friction or that optimal dose of suffering.
Mm-hmm. Then the specific biochemical timing, like with the amino acids.
Right. And this counterintuitive social vulnerability thing.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like a fast track to understanding happiness, less as a mood and more as a controllable, measurable system, maybe.
I think that's a good way to put it. A system with levers.
So what does this all mean?
Well, I think it means you're now equipped, hopefully, to ask better questions about your own strategy for well-being.
Right.
You can move beyond just asking, how do I generally feel happier? And start asking things like, okay, how can I intentionally build some productive friction into my week?
Or even, am I thinking about my nutritional timing to help handle stress?
Exactly. It shifts you from being a passive seeker of happiness to an active, maybe even evidence-based manager of your own well-being.
And that framework, just from analyzing the title, gave us the permission, the lens, to look for these specific kinds of details in the notes.
It set the stage perfectly.
And since this whole idea of hidden science suggests we often get happiness wrong by just looking at the surface, we want to leave you with one final provocative thought to mull over.
Okay.
If the common paths we often think lead to happiness, more money, maximum comfort, tons of free time, if those can sometimes be subtle roadblocks.
As the intentional suffering idea suggests.
Right. Then what completely unexpected part of your daily environment might be the real hidden variable, the potent one that's actually controlling your emotional state more than you realize?
Ooh, that's a good one. Think about something totally ambient, passive, something you never consciously choose or adjust.
Like what? Give an example.
Could be, I don't know, the specific frequency of background noise where you work, or maybe the type of light you're exposed to in the evening, messing with your melatonin.
Or even just the angle your chair forces your posture into all day, affecting your physiology.
Precisely. Things we basically ignore, but which might be constantly triggering tiny stress responses, or conversely, subtle reward signals, hidden in plain sight all along.
So the challenge is, go find that hidden variable in your own environment.
That's the mission.
Go forth. Use this framework. Seek out the real science of well-being for yourself. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.